Hi, this is Pat Lynch at Women's Radio. I'm just thrilled to welcome you to our new video interviews. And I am so excited for our guest today, Joan Peck, who is not only an author, but a good friend. And she was a neighbor for quite a long time, too. And we met through something that she is continuing to do. She's the editor-in-chief of Compass magazine that is produced in Las Vegas. And now she has also written an entire series. In fact, I think maybe two. I'm getting lost. She is a prolific writer. And I read some of her earlier books, and I was really excited about this series because it is based on a subject I care a lot about. And I bet that you do too. And it was based on the information that came to her about human trafficking. So we're going to talk something about that today and about her earlier work as well. I'm very happy to introduce Joan S. Peck, author and friend. Welcome,
Thank you, my friend.
So what in the world did inspire you to write a whole series, a murder series based on human trafficking?
Well, it was a time after I had written kind of a heavy book for me, and I was looking for something more fun to do. And I had an opportunity to attend a seminar. And at the seminar was a gentleman from Las Vegas, from Los Angeles, who was looking for books to turn into movies. And we could pitch an idea of our books. And I was too shy to get up and do it. So, as fate would have it, I sat next to him at lunchtime. And afterward, I asked if I could pitch my story. And he said, sure. It was a 32-year-old psychic who, every time she read the tarot cards and the death card came up, there was murder and she had to help solve it. So he said, yep, great. I like it. Now write the book. And then it was the books. So as I started writing it, I was very excited to just do something kind of fun and whatever. But my personality is that after a storm, I can see the sun. There's no question about it. I can see the sun, but I can also remember the clouds. And so as I was writing about this series that takes place in Las Vegas, I was reminded that 5 people a day go missing here in Las Vegas.
That's amazing.
It's one of the centers for sex trafficking. And I had remembered a story, and it still upsets me when I think about it. There was a young girl who was found in a restaurant with an older couple, and she had a dog collar around her neck and a leash. And they were leading this child around, and nobody in the restaurant rescued her. It was only later, after leaving the restaurant, somebody else had turned them in and whatever. And I always thought of that little girl and, why people were so reticent about stepping up to help her. And that's how I feel people think about sex trafficking.
Yes.
So as I'm writing my book, up pops this little girl in my mind. And in the book, she became a character of the book. And the main character, Rosalie, saves her from sex, and some other little girls, saves her from sex trafficking. And I really have come to believe that I, or any author who has the ability to or desire to bring in other events that happen that are negative, like sex trafficking, needs to do that. Every time that you can get somebody to read your book and it still has hope in it, it still has all the positives, the humor, all of that, and you can slide that in, it is just a little click more of getting people's attention to the problem.
I agree with you. I think not only does it take a village, it literally takes an army. We have to, if we want changes made, we can't wait on the government. We can't wait on the powers that be. In fact, I don't trust many of the powers that be anymore. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it is us.
Yeah.
So if there's a solution, we are the solution, and we need some help. So I think that even these books, Joan, help to give us a guidance, so to speak, on what action maybe we can take. And I hope that here that we will be able to invite a lot more people to be our guest who are or have parts of the solutions. But what did you learn by writing this whole series about things that are being done or things that we can do?
Well, there are a lot of different organizations that do look at this. I think the sad part for me is that we can't join together more and have greater power, because you said it, it takes an army, it takes numbers and numbers. And but I think when reality sets in, it's what you do, Pat, and what I do as individuals, and then collecting other individuals so that we have a greater voice. And I think that's important.
I totally
Yeah.
agree. It's the reason we're here, and we plan to have a lot more people. So it was so perfect that you had finished these books and that we connected again to be able to
Yeah.
have you get us started on this new venture in doing video interviews and starting with a subject that I really feel strongly about. So, but you were talking in the book that one of the people has psychic abilities, and that leads the story on from book to book, so to speak. So, but you've had other instances in your life where you have utilized that kind of talent and that led you to writing nonfiction books as well. And part of that comes from your personal experience. And I thought you might want to share that with the audience too.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. My son died in 2006 of an overdose, and he also was an alcoholic. I can't even say it, alcoholic. And he was born that way. I did not know it. At 2 years old, he was climbing the cabinets to drink the cough medicine. I had taken him to a therapist to see what was going on. Nobody ever thought, well, the kid's addicted. He's got addiction problems. And so it was quite a roller coaster ride for him. But he and I were very close, loved each other very much, told each other all the time. And but we talked about quantum physics too. We talked about the universe. We talked about spirituality. We talked about the bonding, how we all have the same energy within us. And we agreed that we needed to do something to help others that were addicted, like him. And I thought we were going to do it together, but then he died, and I knew it was left to me to do something. So I wrote the book called Prime Threat: Shattering the Power of Addiction. It was very healing. It was very humbling, but it was very loving too. I had my friend who was a channeler channel him in, and we got laughing about so many things. I mean, it really, really, really was quite an exquisite journey. And but the book, again, just like I learned to do in the nonfiction books, or the fiction books, is that there you bring hope, and you bring all of that in all the stories. And he is the one that really emphasized that. In the book, he tells about what to do to help you get out of addiction, how to shatter your power of addiction.
Well,
And it really is
I thought
beautiful.
I thought they were very straightforward. I thought all of the things that were offered by him were right on. It really led me to read several other books, some on channeling, and then others about what people had to give to us from their place. And I think that it also helps to answer, if people read the book, helps answer that question. Is there really life after this life? And,
Yeah.
you know, what can you do? Well, your son did quite a bit. I thought that all of the things that were in the book were amazing.
I think there are two things that came out of that book for me. One is to know we are never, 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 never alone. We always have spiritual beings around us, and that gives hope to people. The other thing is there's nothing more than love that will, when you die, it's not what you have, it's not, who you know, it's none of that. It's how much have you loved each other, loved, sent the love in the world. And that's the most powerful thing. And that's really, really what I learned again through Jay in the book.
That is so well said. And I think that nothing stronger could be said considering the state that the world is in right now,
Yeah.
the things that have happened. And they're not happening out of love. They're happening out of fear and prejudice and greed and power. And those things are not going to help us. So it's going to take another enormous, enormous army if we're going to turn that kind of energy around. And wouldn't it be a lot more fun for everyone to live in a happy state than to always be angry and upset and figure out who's right and who's wrong and so forth and so on? Rather, really find ways to love each other. Does that sound trite? I
No,
don't know,
it
maybe
doesn't
some
at
people it
all.
does.
It doesn't at all. And I mean, the sad thing of it is that the people that we have in power, whether it's government or smaller powers, just create the fear. And
I agree.
it's got everybody jumping, and there's no in between. One thing that I have learned in all my writing and all my living is that we do not have enough conflict resolution taught.
You're so right. It's such another great subject. I'm adding things to my list of people to invite by just listening to you talk. Is really, really good.
Yeah,
And as a matter of fact, I know that you have written some other really interesting things that I want you to mention, which will lead me to say, I can't wait for you to come back again because, of course, we're going to have the holidays coming up before too long. And you've actually written some holiday books, right?
I have. Yes. The one book that because we have talked about sex trafficking, is that you would ask me about what I was writing after the series. And it's Angels Out of the Dark. And that is a woman that I want you to meet and have on your show. The book was written for. She is a wonderful lady, Lena, and she has her own nonprofit called um, uh, Awareness is Protection. And she wanted me to help her. And the only way I could think of helping her was to write a book about human trafficking, sex trafficking. And so this book is about a couple who have earned through the courts lots of money because their daughter was mistaken for a woman on the street and was killed.
Oh my
And
goodness.
they come to Las Vegas and they decide they're going to use their money to help other women off the streets. So
Oh,
they find 4 women and they pool them together and they ask them to become angels out of the dark and help other women off the streets. And
wow.
it's fascinating because it's 4 different women and their backgrounds. And they have one girl that they are trying to save, and it's that storyline. But it is fabulous in that in the back of the book, you're introduced to Lena Waltham is her name. And then she talks about, sex trafficking and what is being done or not being done. They're trying to get more done in Washington regarding it. So that's a really good book.
It sounds really juicy. I can't wait for us to dig into that a bit more. And uh, so you will come back and talk to us about the holiday books, right?
I will. I'll be
Wonderful.
happy to do that for sure.
Wonderful. So now I want to make sure that we don't leave without you. Please mention the title of the books again, ones that are in the series, the one about your son, etc., so that people can order that. And you have a website where also people can go and learn more?
I do. All my books are listed there. You can get all my books on Amazon. My website is very simple. It's joanspeck.com.
Okay.
It's JOANSPECK.com.
And then now mention the name of your books again. So the ones in the series, the murder
It's
series.
a death card series. So there's Death on the Strip, there's Death at the Lake, Death Returns, Death in the Shadows, Death Comes Calling, and Death on the Rough. That's all part of the death card series. Then the next book is Angels Out of the Dark, and that's takes place about that. Then the book with my son is called Prime Threat, Shattering the Power of Addiction.
And addiction is another major issue that we would like to tackle. And so we are always looking for people who are really experts in these areas. These areas are part of the content that we know that leaders that you may have ever, if you've ever heard the term cultural creatives, that make up this very influential group that we feel our audience is, who are really concerned about national, international issues that affect human beings. And certainly the things that we've talked about today are ones that are very serious, and they're more, and we're going to bring them up. If you are one of those people, or you know someone who is, and you know that they need a bigger voice so that we can all hear the truth about those issues, I hope that you'll get in touch with us. You can write directly to womensradio@gmail.com and say that you listen to this program. And I'm sure that Joan will appreciate your visiting her site. And soon, maybe we'll have some other ways for you to be able to click on our site, womensradio.com, and be able to access many of these great authors and speakers. So, Joan, I want to thank you especially for being our very first video guest. This is so auspicious. And I will look forward to your being back here soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.